Summer was coming to the island of Sodor, and this was a big year for the engines. The 80th anniversary of the Railway series was coming soon, and Sir Topham Hatt wanted to hold a special series of competitions with some engines from the mainland to hold as a television special. One evening, Henry backed into Vickerstown sheds where he saw Rosie and Den. "What brings you here tonight, Henry?" asked Den.
"I've decided to have my punch rack design reversed and go back to the way I looked before," replied Henry. "I can always go back to my punch rack model. Think of it like a cross between Transformers and cosmetic surgery." But as Henry talked, all of the people in the yard were busy talking about the upcoming television competition. The next morning, Henry collected a goods train and was steaming along. But as he started climbing up Gordon's Hill, he felt a crash behind him. "Go f*** yourself," D199 laughed as he rammed two flatbeds into the train. "That's what you get for framing me years ago," and he rolled away. "That obnoxious piece of trash thinks I framed him," snarled Henry. "It's not my fault he can't put his passengers first if his life depended on it." Later, when he was dropping off passengers at Wellsworth, he told Gordon and James about D199's return, and they agreed to talk about it with the other engines later. That evening at the sheds, the engines were prepared to talk about D199 when Thomas spoke up. "I overheard him talking to Bowler at the smelter's yard," he puffed. "He wants a competition, a rematch of sorts, against him and his two yes men. He says he's trying to recruit one more." Emily then spoke up.
"I know who can stand against them,"
she puffed calmly.
"I'll ask my friends at Campus Fair if they would be willing to champion D199 and Darling."
"By the season 6 and 7 engines?"
asked James curiously, because many residents of Sodor consider those characters the most strong and underestimated, chipped in Percy. "We're considered strong and powerful too, but the people of the island know best. We have to see if they'd be willing to stand against the mainland." The engines at Tidmouth agreed. That night, D199 rolled quietly into the smelter's yard. He was delivering the damaged replicas that the corrupt BR employees had planned to replace Thomas and the other engines with. He then saw Arry and Bert. "The Ironworks brothers," he said smoothly. "I want to talk to you for a minute. I want to know if you'd be interested in facing off against these cowardly Sudrian engines."
"We do not care,"
grunted Arry.
"Your plans fail every single time. You launched a war against that twanky arsehole and he escaped the harbour without consequences."
"If your large plan failed that badly,"
agreed Bert,
"we're not getting involved with your idiocracy again."
Don't worry, D1. We'll join," came two voices. It was Splatter and Dodge. But as D199 was uncoupled from his trucks, Diesel 10 came out of the smelter shed. He growled at Splatter and Dodge. "Hold on, you shitbirds. You two are the most pathetic excuses for henchmen I've ever seen. You put yourselves in stupid shit purely to go against me. Well, you are no different than any other piece of shit I've seen in this world. And no, Spam Can, I'm not joining your cult. If you want something done right, you do it yourself." "You're lost, f***stick," smirked D199, and he, Splatter, and Dodge left the smelter's yard.
What a bunch of idiots.
The next day, Salty and Harvey agreed to join the competition against D199 and his cult. He called his group the Reviled Revolution for some reason, puffed Edward. "You two would serve as backups in case any of the others at Knapford Sheds back out at the last minute." "Anything for the engines who I spend almost every night with," smiled Harvey. "What do you think, Salty?"
"I'll take any competition to stand up for my friends."
Before long, Murdoch and Fergus agreed to join the competition with some convincing. "You can show those pompous mainland diesels how to do things right," smirked Mavis. "I'll take it," agreed Fergus, and he rolled away. And soon after, Spencer and Arthur agreed to join the competition so they could stand up for their railway, and were even more motivated when Donald and Douglas promised to let them come with them to visit Scotland next year. The next morning at Knapford, many people wanted to see the competition. Bertie the boss brought tons of passengers to the town, and many more vehicles were hard at work. In addition, the news company set up shop, and Sir Topham Hatt introduced the competition on the news, with Harold the helicopter transporting the news team. Good morning, all my loyal viewers of the world. I am reporting from Knapford Station on the island of Sodor, and today is a very important day for our island. This year is the 80th anniversary of the Railway Series, and as a result, we will be holding a televised event, a competition between 5 of my engines as the underrated leaders versus 4 engines from the mainland, along with a replica of one of my engines which they crafted from a scrapped engine they stole from my ironworks, as titled The Reviled Revolution. That is the most inaccurate depiction of me ever. What are you doing, Spam Can? They also call the replica D20? What's even the point of that? The winning team of this competition will win $500,000. Mike's mom, Melissa, would be hosting the challenges as she loves Survivor and other reality shows.
Alright, everyone. The first challenge will take place at Condale on the bridge, which is under reconstruction. Fergus and D20 will be jousting. They'll run at each other at high speed, both pushing trucks, and whoever falls into the water first loses. Are you 2 engines ready?
I've never been more ready in my f***ing life, Fergus said, feeling very determined. Against that wannabe, I'll show him how to do it right. Diesel 10 couldn't do this if Splatter and Dodge were scrapped and he was the fastest diesel ever.
And go!
Fergus and D20 charged at each other, and both crashed at a frightening speed, but D20 had been careless enough to not make sure he wasn't coupled to his trucks, and he fell off the bridge into the river.
And the winner of the first challenge is Fergus!
D20 was soon lifted out of the river with the help of a crane that was conveniently there. That Trevor knockoff cheated, D20 argued. I should have won. Oliver and Toad said nothing as they pulled the sore loser away on a flatbed. They did not care. The next challenge was held at Crosby and was a face-off between Arthur and Emily versus Splatter and Dodge.
The next challenge is a simple one. Whoever can correctly say 5 things you should never do while driving first wins.
This should be easy, puffed Arthur. Let's remember the proper railway etiquette. Arthur and Emily instantly answered the moment the challenge began. Never drive drunk, don't go over the speed limit, don't slow down in the left lane.
Don't ignore the red lights and never use your phone while driving.
The 2 engines won as a result of them actually using their brains, and the 2 stupid diesels argued about who was at fault for losing, much to the amusement of the other engines.
It's remarkable that those 2 diesels are still somehow less immoral than D199 and Bowler.
The third challenge was held at Brendam Docks and would be a test of strength.
The third challenge will be a test of strength between Murdoch and D199. Both of you have to pull 20 trucks from here to Vickerstown, where the final challenge will be.
This is my chance. I mustn't let my friends down.
D199 backed onto his train, but he very stupidly decided to not have his air intake cover put back on because he wanted everyone to see his natural beauty.
D199? Shouldn't you?
I'll be fine, yelled D199. Let's do this already, damn it! And once given the signal, he and Murdoch started straining out of the docks.
Oh, I've never pulled a train this heavy before.
But as D199 got to Gordon's Hill, it happened. A mockingbird had flown into his air intake and died. Cranky had been watching from the dock's massive television.
You useless mainland diesels can go suck a fat one.
And D199 was eliminated while Edward and Boko arrived to pull him back to the docks. Murdoch, meanwhile, continued struggling up the hill. The trucks then spoke to each other. Murdoch is a nice engine, yet he never bumps us. Maybe we should help him get over the hill. Yeah, we should. He's the engine I'd choose to be with if I had to be part of a long goods train. And the trucks helped push Murdoch up the hill and kept him from going too fast down the other side and derailing. Murdoch soon pulled safely into Vickerstown, exhausted but triumphant.
And the winner of this challenge is Murdoch!
As Murdoch was calming down, Henry arrived to talk to him.
You have the balls of steel, Murdoch. I'm honored you won. You make me proud to be me.
Murdoch smiled.
Thank you, Henry. It is an honor to be friends with such kind engines.
But no two engines were more proud of Murdoch than Molly and Neville, who whistled with excitement for him. It was time for the final challenge. People showed up to the town in spades. Many engines brought passengers to the station so they could watch, and engines who weren't there were watching from various TVs all around the island.
And the final challenge will be between Spencer and Class 40. You will watch the worst movie that's not a Freiburg Seltzer parody movie, Holmes and Watson.
Well, I can do it. I'm not a Will Ferrell fan, but I've seen him make much worse than this.
Then the movie started. Spencer was cringing throughout and wanted to sneeze all over everyone, but he stood his ground. "This is torture!" shouted Class 40. "I demand a new challenge!" And he left his berth and rolled straight off the line.
And Spencer wins the challenge, and as a result, the underrated leaders win the 80th anniversary competition since Class 40 forfeited this challenge.
And Class 40's bitching was ignored by the cheers of the residents of Sodor.
Finally, I can say these engines are at least somewhat capable compared to those pathetic mainland diesels.
We win! I get to say I work on an actually worthy railway!
I guess I'll work with them as opposed to the mainland engines. And I can say that I'm proud of Spencer. He stood up for our railway like any true engine would.
And the 5 Season 7 characters were awarded their money, which they split with each getting $100,000.
I can't wait to go to Scotland with Donald and Douglas, puffed Arthur. I'm thinking about making educational videos showing people how to do things the right way.
Fergus chimed in. We could use more structure in our world.
I don't know what I'll do with the money yet,
said Emily.
I guess I'll just have to wait and find out.
And the engines continued enjoying their newfound success, ready for a bright future ahead.